Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 17th. You start with this Parents card. It says authority, modeling, security, and guides. You have this War card. It says internal conflict and emotional regulation. There's like a lot of internal conflict going on right now, probably for you because of Neptune retrograde in Pisces, your opposite sign. So I don't know. I think that this is like a common energy for you at this time, maybe. But is it a bad thing? And sure, we'll take both. No, I don't think it's bad because you're being pushed towards something new, Virgo, which has come up for you multiple times, that you're kind of it's like I think you're wanting to do more of what you want to do. You maybe even want to have a connection to what you're doing with the King of Cups. The King of Cups has a deep emotional connection to the things that he's doing, the things he's working on and creating in his life. And there you go. You have the Ten of Pentacles, which is, wealth, success, your dream life, everything you want and desire in life. So that looks pretty good. In your first row for your current general energies, you have the Death card, the Five of Wands, and the Eight of Swords. Death is like a big change, and that Six of Swords jumped out. I don't know if you saw it with the Five of Cups. So, it kind of says to me that you're maybe moving on from things that are a little bit boring. Sometimes I think with the Five of Cups, normally it's a card of needing to express gratitude. It's a card of needing to let go of things that no longer serve you. He's grieving the loss of something he no longer enjoys. We'll talk about it in a minute. But, with this reading, I just feel a little bit of being bored with whatever it is you're doing, or like looking for excitement. And I feel that is the change that you are trying to make with the Death card. The Death card has this child here, and the child is the only person that's not scared of the Death Rider. The child is holding these flowers up to the Death Rider, and so it can kind of represent the fact that, children are excited by new things, and it can also say that, being excited by change can be the thing that helps you the most when it comes to making a change. You have the Five of Wands, which is definitely conflict, and so you have that internal conflict card. Five of Wands can be conflict or competition, and, your internal conflict could be that maybe you're thinking there's too much competition for something you want or something you want to do with your life. But the thing with the Five of Wands is to learn from the competition and to do what they're not doing. We have to stand out above the competition with the Five of Wands. And if we do that, we will be very successful. So I would make sure that you are doing things that kind of set you apart, that make you more unique or different from the competition. And, doing that will probably make all the difference in the world with the Five of Wands. You have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords can be self-imposed restriction. She is stuck here or I don't know what I just said. I think I said Eight of Wands, but Eight of Swords, she is stuck. She's the card of only seeing one way of doing things when there are many ways of doing things. I think that right now what we're dealing with is comfort zones, like everybody basically. And, we're going to have Uranus going back into Taurus, in the middle of the month here. So if you're not watching this early, it might already be in Taurus, depending when you're watching it, this video. But what I would say is Uranus in Taurus, I think, is good because I think it's setting us free. But on the other hand, it's like sometimes I think we can look for safety. And, I'm not saying that you should do something dangerous, of course, Virgo, but I'm more talking about playing it safe. If you're playing it too safe, or, if you're handling things too delicately. I think I said this to you in your November bonus reading. Maybe I said something about being willing to break things, and that's what I feel. I think that mindset of not caring if something works or not is really the trick for Virgo. And it's like, if you're too afraid to break things, then I think you're not going to, build the muscles necessary. It's kind of like in training. If you train for anything, like especially in sports, they tell people that they should be training at the edge of their capability. They should, if they're training and things are perfect, then they're not training hard enough. Basically, if they're not making mistakes, they're not pushing themselves hard enough. They're not actually learning anything. And, that's kind of the energy I get here off the Eight of Swords is that you are training right now, whether you realize it or not. And I think you need to push yourself to that point where, the results you're getting aren't perfect, because that's where you're going to learn, right? And, this is very Mercury retrograde type energy. With the Death card, you have the Chariot. I actually feel kind of good about this. I mean, Chariot is a good card. I'm not saying that it's not. But, I kind of feel like you are charging forward. It's almost like I feel like you're seeing an opportunity and you are charging towards it. It's not like saying to me that you have to. So I feel for a lot of you that you could be really focused on setting yourself apart this week. Not even just this week. I think this is going to be something that Virgo does until, I don't know, like the middle of next year probably. I mean, that between now and then, it's like you're bringing it into this world, and then you're probably going to continue doing whatever you're doing after that. But I feel that time frame is where you're training, like I said. With the Five of Wands, you have the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands like boundaries, but Nine of Wands is my card of experimentation. He's the card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, which again, if you're doing that, you're going to be breaking things, so to speak, right? You're going to do things that don't work. Some of the things you try will work. So, I think it's an excellent time for you to be in experimentation mode, being willing to try new things mode, all that other good stuff. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Hangman. Yeah, Hangman is about seeing things from a new perspective. He's hanging upside down from the Tree of Knowledge and Wisdom. So if you are stuck in any area of your life, obviously looking at it from a new perspective could set you free, and I think that's what you probably have to do with the Hangman energy here, is look at things from a new perspective. I also feel that the Hangman is talking about enlightenment. Again, doing things differently, as simple as that sounds, can sometimes enlighten us to other ways of doing things, or like other ways of having success, and that's what I would do here with the Hangman. On top of all that, I feel some of you have been on pause with the Hangman, and he needs to realize it's like time for him to move forward, and he's not really stuck anymore. So I feel it is definitely time for you to move forward here with the Hangman, and you have the Six of Swords right after. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this card that says darkness looms on the horizon. You have this other card that says let your intentions be known. Yes, we are in a dark period of time. I don't mean that as in dark as in bad. There are plenty of bad things going on, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. But I think we're in a time where we can't see the future, is really what this card is saying for you, Virgo. Like, if you're trying to predict the outcome of something before you do it, not going to happen, especially with Neptune and Pisces, right? For you and Pisces, I think this has been the thorn in your side, right? I don't even think Neptune rules Pisces. I think Jupiter still rules Pisces. Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces. I've looked at 10 billion Pisces charts. I can see how Jupiter rules every single one of those people that I've read for. So it's obvious to me, right? I don't even like Neptune and Pisces. I'm a Pisces, so not that it's not bad. Astrology, I think there is no good or bad in astrology. It's energy to work with, but the challenge with Neptune and Pisces is I feel it kind of removes those clues. If we're working towards something or trying to accomplish a goal, or we're wanting to work on a dream, we don't necessarily know the future, but if we don't have Neptune and Pisces, I think it's almost like we can kind of see it more, we can feel it more. I think the milestones are closer. And so having Neptune retrograde in Pisces right now, it's like there's darkness. We can't necessarily see where we're going. Neptune and Pisces wants us to trust ourselves. It wants us to say, like, do you think something is a good idea? Again, maybe normally when Neptune isn't in Pisces, you might ask people for feedback, or you might ask your mom or your friends or whatever, like, is this a good idea? They'll give you feedback. With Neptune and Pisces, it's like that feedback, number one, doesn't mean anything. Number two, it's like maybe we aren't getting any feedback. Like, no one is telling us, like, our ideas are good ideas. Neptune and Pisces is like the universe trying to teach you that your ideas come from you, so it's like you might as well trust yourself, right? And so that's what's going on here for you, Virgo. You have the Three of Swords, the Six of Swords, Five of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. Three of Swords is definitely about needing to heal your heart. This has been a theme for you, and love changed for you this year, Virgo, I believe. And that doesn't have to be love with a person. That could be how you love yourself. It could mean how you grew up with love in your life or didn't, right? And, you are processing, what love means for you. And I'm talking about the energy of love. Now, you do have good love cards here in this reading, but, I think focusing on the big picture will also help with love, but will also help with other things in your life as well. So I think healing your heart, those swords are in your own heart. We have to practice forgiveness with the Three of Swords. We have to, forgive the past and, kind of heal our heart and move forward. Next, you have these two wanted to come out together. You have the Five of Cups and the Six of Swords. Five of Cups can be regrets and sadness, and Six of Swords would literally be moving on from the regrets and the sadness. The whole point of the Five of Cups is that he doesn't even want those three cups anymore, and he has two cups behind him in that bridge and that castle as well. So, it's a card about realizing that something that you might be moving on from, you don't even enjoy it any longer. So there's like no point in grieving the loss of whatever it is that you're moving on from. There's clearly something better coming in for you. The second half of the reading is amazing. You have all very good cards. And so I feel this is saying that, everything is in front of you, and that's what you should be focusing on, is like moving into the future and moving towards good things and good feelings. And that's what I would focus on here. Next, you have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is also out with the old, in with the new, kind of like the Five of Cups. This castle is meant to look like it's crumbling. The Ace of Wands is that new spark of hope or spark of inspiration that could be coming in for you. It's also a very creative card. And again, creativity can be messy for sure. We have to be messy to be creative. So I feel that, being messy, being willing to break things, like I said, being willing to do something and it doesn't work, like being willing to do things that won't work, is also what comes up here. Because again, you don't know, right? None of us. I don't think anyone does, but I think it's worse for you and Pisces, like I said. But you have to take the risk to get something to grow in the first place. And with the Nine of Wands, he has 8 wands behind him, and he's holding on to one wand. So it's almost like you are, landing on an opportunity here, or you are finding something. Maybe you're already at an idea that will work, and so I would do it. With the Three of Swords, you have the Three of Wands. Yeah, it's like expanding, opening up your heart, basically, with the Three of Wands. Three of Wands is also about realizing that things can be different. He's been standing where he's always been, and he has these boats on the ocean. Those boats are going somewhere he has no clue where they're going, but by entering into a new environment or by going on an adventure, he is changing an outcome, or he's going to experience a completely new outcome. So anything you want to change, I would just move in new directions with the Three of Wands. With the Five of Cups, you have the Four of Wands, so marriage potential. There are good, obviously, love. I mean, this whole row right here, divine counterparts, marriage again with the Hierophant. So this could be some sort of a new commitment in love. We'll talk about it in a minute. But it could also be your commitment to what you love. Like I said, the energy of love, I believe, is going to be critically important for Virgo. So, healing your heart, making sure that you're doing things from a position of love and committing to whatever that is. It could be your work, could be a business, could be a personal project, your health, whatever. Committing to those things is going to set you free. The key word with the Four Wands is really, truly freedom. It's a card of setting yourself free and crossing a finish line. So that's what I would focus on there. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, Seven of Swords is about doing things differently. He is stealing these swords from this army in the background. Seven of Swords is a good card. It's a golden card. Golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive no matter what. Like, sure, if we had, like, the Magician, the Devil, and the Ten of Swords here, I would say be careful of a liar, cheater, stealer. But we don't. So, and I really, intuitively, I feel like this is about you. It's about you doing things differently. The whole entire reading says it. So, he is taking a different approach to war. He is stealing the swords so they can't be used against him, right? And we still have Uranus and Gemini for a few more days if you're watching this early. I'm going to be publishing this video on the 12th. And so, I would say even when it leaves, it doesn't matter. Uranus has already been in Gemini. Uranus and Gemini wants us to think different. It wants us to go against the grain, be rebellious. It wants us to, be innovative and come up with new ways of doing things. And if we do that, we will be very successful. Next, in the area messages from your future self, you have this whale card. It says Wisdom Keeper. You have this gazelle. It says change and purity on it. Yes. So I feel like you have gained a lot of wisdom. The hangman is hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom. but now he has to use it to create change and probably purity as well, or he has to do things for the right reasons. I think the purity word here for you, Virgo, is about not just going through the motions of day-to-day life. I think it's about you doing things because you have a true connection to what you're doing. It's like I just said to Taurus, and I'm going to say it to you, that I think that a lot of people could be feeling that the energy of just doing things like a robot, just doing things because you are doing something automatically, but there's no connection to what you're doing. And I think this purity card is encouraging you, if it wants to focus, to do what you love to do, plain and simple. Next, you have the King of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and the Hierophant. So obviously divine counterparts. If you're looking for love, there could be a divine counterpart coming in for you. Both the King and Queen of Cups want you to follow your heart. The Queen of Cups is more the card of following your heart. The King of Cups is about following your emotions. He has explored how he feels about what he's doing to a very deep level. He's sitting in the middle of the deep ocean, and he does things that make him feel more emotionally fulfilled. The other thing is, he's sitting in these choppy waters, but he's not worried about what's going on around him. He's just focused on doing what brings him fulfillment. So, again, I think doing that would be a good idea. Also, Virgo, make sure to like and leave a comment. Really helps me out. You have the Queen of Cups, which is about following your heart. Again, this could be a divine counterpart if you're looking for love that's coming in for you. But more importantly, with that Three of Swords, she practices healing. She heals her heart. She makes sure that the things she's doing feel right in her heart as well. And so if you're just doing things just to do them, then you're going to have a harder time. If you're doing things because you love doing what you're doing, you're going to have a much easier time. And, really that's what I would focus on with this Queen of Cups energy for sure. You have the Hierophant. The Hierophant can represent marriage, and we do see some good marriage cards here. So, sure, if you're looking for love, definitely could be love. Could be a water sign, fire sign. Cancer, Pisces stands out to me. Taurus, could be, any sign, general reading. But, definitely could be love. I feel like you need to focus on blessings or, doing things that bring blessings into your life. A couple of your readings this year have really said you need to tell yourself you're good enough. And it's like I say to people sometimes, I just see this, I teach YouTube on the weekends, and I like some of my students, I can tell they're holding back. And people always say, don't talk behind people's back. I say this directly to their face, so don't worry about it. They all know what I think. I don't hold back. You should know this by now. I'm an Aquarius rising. I have zero filter, and I do not care, right? So there you go. But I say it right to their face. I can tell you're holding back. I can tell that there's more inside of you. And the Hierophant, it's like we have to believe that we are good enough to get blessings. So sometimes I feel with the Hierophant, it's like, why aren't you doing the things that would bring you blessings? It's like, that's what I think happens when we hold back. We're basically saying to ourselves, I don't deserve the blessing that this thing could bring me. And that is the question that is popping into my head with the Hierophant. I think you need to tell yourself you are good enough. That might be the change that needs to happen. With the King of Cups, you have the Five of Pentacles. I said this to you recently, I'm pretty sure. It was either the November reading or the bonus reading or the Mercury retrograde reading I just did for you. I don't remember which one it was. But I feel that you could be attracting a person who's been hurt. This might be something that you notice. Kind of gives me that wounded animal type of feeling here, where they could be a little bit more reserved or shy at the beginning. I don't think this is a bad thing. I feel like this is probably a healed person, but definitely something to pay attention to, because I always say tarot is loose guidance at best. Obviously, if you meet this person and they're not talking and they're holding back and they're not getting over themselves, then you should probably leave, right? It doesn't matter that I say this is a good person. I think it is a good person, even if they hold back. Maybe they're not a bad person, but at a certain point you have to say okay, this person isn't opening up. They need to go and heal. You don't need to be with them during that process, right? They need to do that on their own. And because, again, we shouldn't wait for anyone. So, be careful. But at the same time, I think this is good. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Ace of Swords, which is a victory or big success. Following your heart will lead to success. Again, if you're just doing things automatically, that is where the challenge will come from here, Virgo. But if you're doing things because you want to be doing them, that's where the victories will come from. The Ace of Swords is also the truth. Again, if you meet a good person and they're holding back, speak up, say something, tell them. And if they fix it, great. You found a person who listens. You found a person who's willing to fix things. If they don't, kick their ass out the door. It's pretty freaking simple, right? With the Hierophant, you have the Justice card. Justice is cause and effect. I find that during Mercury retrograde, we get a lot of these cards that say we need to pay attention to what's working, obviously. So, you should be paying attention to where you're putting your energy. If you put your energy into something and it brings a blessing with the Hierophant, then keep doing whatever that thing is. If you do something and it wastes your time, then stop, right? And that's what I would pay attention to here. This is right here is pretty good for Law and Order as well, the Ace of Swords with the Justice card. So if you are dealing with something legal, there could be like a, something happening legally here in a good way. As I say that, in your last row, for the good stuff, you have this Judication card. It says advice, consultant, negotiation, discussion, final decision, conflict, discernment, moral ambivalence. So it's a legal card, and it's coming up in the good stuff, so there could be like a positive legal outcome here. You have this Great Water card. It says yearning, dreams, wishes, goals, abroad, foreign people, spirituality, broadening horizons, new views. Very obvious energy to me. The Mercury retrograde is starting in Sagittarius. All the things on that card are, basically Sagittarius energy. So I think, but on top of that, Neptune and Pisces is making us focus on our dreams. Everybody is probably focused on that. On top of all that, Uranus and Taurus. In the row for your good stuff, you have the Ten of Pentacles, the King of Wands, and the Four of Cups. Again, Uranus and Taurus right here. This is not Uranus and Taurus, but Ten of Pentacles, I think, is the goal of Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus wants us to build and leave a legacy. Ten of Pentacles is building and leaving a legacy. So, to me, this is a very common energy right now. I would do one thing to really kind of lock a legacy into Earth, into the 3D, right? I think we all have that Neptune and Pisces 5D impossible dream. I think we need to bring that down to Earth. I say it all the time because I want to get people moving, right? Because it's scary. It's scary right now. It's scary to do something where you don't know the outcome. And also, if you have this big impossible dream, it's impossible. Or you think it's impossible, but it's actually not. So, I would be doing something to lock in the Ten of Pentacles into your life. The readings this week have been amazing for money. So even though things are going crazy with money, I still feel there could be a lot of opportunity for people to, improve their finances or to learn something about their money. So I would. You have the King of Wands. You always get the King of Wands with me, I'm pretty sure, Virgo. And I do feel the King of Wands wants you to be bold, assertive, confident, willing to break things. He has to be willing to take a risk. He has these salamanders on his cloak, and this lizard is supposed to be a salamander. Salamanders represent protection from fire in the tarot. So, the King of Wands is protected from taking risk, basically. He can take a risk and it won't burn him like maybe it normally would. So, I feel for a lot of you, he's encouraging you to take bigger risks. You have the Four of Cups. I feel like you're getting something you want. Outside of the good stuff, the Four of Cups would represent not getting what you want. And in the good stuff, I feel like you are getting something you want. I also look at the Four of Cups as a little bit of boredom. So, I basically said this at the beginning of the reading with the Five of Cups, that I do feel like some of you, I don't know if it's boredom or if it's just doing, like I said, doing things automatically. It's like I think we can get trapped in routines sometimes where we just, do things the same way over and over and over again. Nothing ever changes. And then we feel like we're on a hamster wheel. And so I do feel a little bit of that energy here on this card where it's like encouraging you to get off some sort of hamster wheel, or it's like you are, because it's coming up in the good stuff. Here you go. With the Ten of Pentacles, you have the Emperor. So definitely could be attracting like an Emperor or an Empress, whichever you prefer, into your life. Ten of Pentacles is a good love card. It's everything you want and desire in a connection. I would also say if there are any new financial opportunities for you this week, I would take them. With the King of Wands, you have the Seven of Wands. Yes, Seven of Wands says the more sure of yourself you are, the better. It's a card of conviction. So it says when you know that you know, when you've brainwashed yourself into believing that something will be successful, it will be successful. So, might be a good week for you to do that. With the Four of Cups, you have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, again, taking the first step. Six of Pentacles is planting seeds. So we have to plant a seed in a direction. We have to try something. And if it works, great. We should double down on whatever is working. If it doesn't work, we should try something else. So, if you're trying to accomplish anything, I would just be trying, experimenting, and that will lead to success. Next, you have this handshake card. It says, meeting with a stranger could be important. Yeah, if you're looking for love, could be a stranger, could come out of nowhere, for sure. This could also be good for, like, finding a mentor or a guide. You have that parents card, and it says guides on it. So we are at an amazing time for meeting mentors, finding guides, things like that. You have this casket card. It says someone going out of your life or the end of a situation. Yeah, I think we're all ending things right now. Again, we're we have been in a very intense astrological period of time. So, I think we're all making big changes right now. You have this broken wishbone. It says, wish will not be granted. Five of Cups. Five of Cups is grieving the loss of something that you thought you wanted that you really don't want. It's like when a wish disappoints you. When you get something you thought you wanted and you don't. So, again, I would let whatever that is go. You have this dogs. It says, getting together with friends. Yes, amazing time for socializing and with people you're close with and all that other good stuff. So, I think socializing would be amazing for you here, Virgo. You have the Scales card. It says, keep your life in balance. Yes, definitely a good time with the Justice card and the Six of Pentacles to balance things out with these cards. But this looks amazing, Virgo. I love it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.